Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and in today's video I just want to hop on PTR to show off exactly what's it like to interact with all these quality of life changes when it comes to covenants, renowns, soulbinds, and conduit energy. I thought it'd be worth going over exactly how all that stuff works right now in PTR, just to show you what's it like to swap covenants freely, what's it like setting up your conduits, with the energy being gone, how much freedom do you have in customizing your builds, and how can you catch up with renown on your alts as well as your main character. So starting off in Oribos, we're starting off at the Enclave. Well, this is where you make your fateful decision of which covenant you want to join from this table in the middle. But with 9.1.5, you can actually change this covenant anytime you want to. Currently, my character is Renown 40, or rather 42, with the Necrolord covenant. But if I want to switch something about my character, I go here, and if I want to change up my covenant, I just talk to the covenant leaders. And that's it. Just like that, I'm Venthyr. Now, normally, if I wanted to switch from Venthyr back to Necrolord, it would give me a 2-week questline in order to be able to go back. But as of right now on 9.1.5 PTR, you just talk to the NPC and you get the renown. You get all your soul binds back, you get your abilities back. You do have to go back to the Covenant Sanctum to get soul binds, which we'll talk about in a second. But changing back and forth between covenants is really quick and easy. You just talk to them, you make the switch, and that's it, you're ready to play. This can be achieved once you reach Renown 80, and for this character, I was able to achieve Renown 80 with the Kyrian. Now, I didn't actually have to do any of the world quests, to be fair. There is literally a button that just gives you Renown every time you press it on PTR. That's not going to be like that on live, but once our characters reach level 80 Renown, which will actually happen in just a couple of weeks now, since we are at Renown 68 as we're recording this video, so the next week is going to be 70, and there's just a couple more weeks until we get to 80. Most characters, like alts and mains, will be able to start switching covenants anytime they want to, as soon as one of your characters reaches Renown 80. So this is available on multiple characters. This isn't my first character with 80. I'm able to switch covenants on my alts freely, whether they have any renown whatsoever. However, one of the biggest things that you'll notice, one of the biggest disadvantages of switching covenants, is your renown isn't transferable across covenants. So if you reach 80 renown with one covenant, that means you'll have to grind the other covenants separately from 1 to 80. Now, Blizzard did add a ton of catch-up mechanisms into the game in order for you to catch up with Renown as quickly as possible. However, it's not fun. It still is a bit of a grind, so they actually added a NPC into PTR, a broker, that can help you catching up on that Renown. Once a character hit 80 Renown, not only can you switch covenants, you can buy an item from him as well. This broker, we're not even sure if that's going to be their final location. Maybe that'll be the heirloom specialist. They'll just be hanging out by the flight master, or maybe they'll put him somewhere else, but right now that's where he's at over on PTR. From this broker, you can actually switch anima around characters, so you can send anima from your main to alts, or send anima from main to different covenants of choice. You can even buy specific Corthian pieces for catch-up gear that you can send to your alt characters. And there's an item called Broker Mark of Distinction, which can be mailed to your alt characters and will increase the renown of your currently active covenant to 40. Renown catch-up only up to 40. It's not plus 40. It just boosts your renown whatever you're at, whether you're at 1, 5, 35, up to 40. And that's what the item does. So this is at least a way for you to catch up with Renown. This is why every one of my covenants on this character on PTR is at Renown 40, because I've already used this item in order to test how it works. But this is great if, let's say, you have one character that's main 80 Renown, you could just buy this item for pretty cheap gold, in my opinion, and just boost a bunch of alts to Renown 40. Not only will you boost that one alt, but you could buy 4 items per alt character, so that alt can be Renown 40 in 4 different covenants, which is really, really cool. Another thing that you're gonna have to do for every one of your alt characters, like let's say I go on all of my alts and I give them the renown item and I have them all join the Night Fae Covenant. I'm gonna need to do this little introductory to Night Fae for every single one of them that hasn't been part of Night Fae at all. So this whole meet the queen, kneel down for the queen, receive soul shape, all that stuff, I'm gonna need to do that on every character. And I got to thinking, what if Blizzard found a way to maybe bypass this, because you're going to end up seeing these little introductory events to every single covenant way too many times when you're catching up your alts with Renown. And then we have the next thing that we could actually test out. Conduit energy gone. That's one of the other things that's been added in 9.1.5. No longer do you have any conduit energy on your character. This is going to feel so good for customizing how you want to play, swapping out different soul binds, and just changing things up from time to time on your tune. For example, if I want to play Assassination and I want to try a AoE focus build in Mythic Pluses, maybe I'll take Poison Qatar. Maybe I'll take Lethal Poisons and I'll try out some crazy big AoE build and see if that might be my fancy. Maybe I want a PvP and I could just go swap out to some more PvP related with double potency conduits of Maim and Mangle, Well-Played Steel. So now you can just kind of swap covenants and conduits around whenever you want to, and that is such a good change. But it also does kind of show some of the limitations of the Forge of Bonds and how that all functions. Currently, a lot of the Covenant stuff is relied off the Forge of Bonds, and I'm going to need to complain about it just for a little bit here. But the Forge of Bonds is where you go to change your conduits. Conduits, to me, feels like glyphs of older systems, or older World of Warcraft, like Cataclysm, Wrath of Lich King systems. They function in the same way. You just slot which one you want, and they provide some kind of a passive bonus to some aspect of your gameplay. So this isn't like a really new system of conduits. We actually had it before. They're very similar to, and this is how glyphs used to work, how you change your talents whenever you want to, as long as you're in a rested area or you're using a tome to change your talents. You also were able to swap out your glyphs freely whenever you want to. For Shadowlands, you can't really do that. I'm trying to put, instead of Mango Lethal Poisons, and it's not letting me, and it won't let me do that until I visit my Forge of Bonds. So maybe if Blizzard can find a way for you to be able to swap around conduits away from Forge of Bonds, that would add just so much more to the experience in general. Another change that will come in at a later time is you'll be able to unlock your third soul bind, and I believe even your second, without having to do any of the story stuff. That isn't available in PTR right now, maybe in the future build. But eventually you'll just be able to switch to your Covenant that you want to play, unlock that Renown 40, be able to unlock the 3 soul binds that are going to be necessary for the player power progression, and start playing with them immediately. Although the soul bind switching and the Renown catch-up systems are not bad at all, I think they still could be improved, and this will be a bit of my own suggestion from this part of the video. The way you change covenants in the game in 9.1.5 is you have to go back to Oribos and then talk to one of the leaders of the covenants in order to switch your covenant. That I don't really have a problem with. I mean, some players having to go back to Oribos every single time just to make that change is going to be pretty annoying, and maybe that's something Blizzard can work on in the future. But going back to Oribos to change covenants, I don't think is the worst. For example, when I'm about to do some Mythic Pluses, I usually go and hang out in the Hall of Shapes, pick up some consumables before I dive into some keys. I also visit the auction house before I do some raiding to make sure that I'm stocked up and ready to go. I have to go to Oribos anyway, so for me to be able to go from portals, pick up some stuff in the auction house, swap over to the Enclave and pick my Covenant won't be that big of a deal. The same thing with PvP. I'll usually hang out in the Enclave for any kind of honor that I earn. I'll just use that honor to buy gear or upgrade my currently active gear. Maybe I'll go pick up the PvP quest for the week. So I generally hang out in Oribos before I do any of the instance content anyway. So since I go by here all the time, I don't think it's the worst that they have. You give you the ability to switch covenants anytime you want to, but you do have to go to Oribos. Again, maybe they can add a seamless way, like through talents or something, or maybe just add a new tab for covenants where you can just change your covenant anytime you want to from anywhere in the world. But there's also another small issue when it comes to changing covenants, and that is your access of soul binds and how things are so stringently tied to that Forge of Bonds that we talked about earlier. Let's say I am done playing Night Fae. I don't really want to go back to Night Fae, and this character originally was full Kyrian, so maybe I want to go back to Kyrian. I want to do some dungeons or raid as a Kyrian for a bit. I miss the ability, I miss my legendary, and I want to play around with it. Now, I am Kyrian, but I don't have any of the Kyrian soul binds. So, since everything is kind of locked to your Forge of Bonds, if you want to change your covenant, not only do you have to travel all the way to Oribos to change your covenant, but now that I become a Kyrian, I have to now travel all the way to the Kyrian Sanctum. And once I reach the Kyrian Sanctum, I have to go to my Forge of Bonds. Once I'm on the Forge of Bonds, I can finally interact with the soul bind, activate it, and now I'm able to play the game. So if you're switching covenants regularly, this travel time between going back to Oribos, then going all the way back to that Sanctum, then activating the actual soulbind itself. It's not quick, for one, and it's just going to be pretty annoying over time to have to do all that traveling just so you can finally play these covenants. Now, maybe they should just add a Forge of Bonds in Oribos. Like, there's a whole area in Oribos where there's a bunch of different covenant stuff. Like, this is the PvP vendors, and over here is the quartermasters for the different factions, and there's a bunch of brokers and NPCs talking over here. What if they just added a Forge of Bonds hidden in the corner of Oribos? This way you could just change your covenant, head over to a forge, select your soulbind, and that's it. You're ready to play the game. So they'll definitely have to do something to improve in that regard. And I imagine maybe adding just some sort of extra UI, like when you bring up your talents, you'll have spec, talent, and covenant selection, where you can just choose which covenant you want to play as, and maybe be able to switch from it remotely, as well as switching your soulbinds around remotely, as well as the conduits around remotely. That would definitely enhance a lot of the experience of vault friendliness, but that's just a suggestion that I've had, because this is going to be a lot of travel time if you want to play different covenants with different soulbinds anytime you wish. But anyway guys, this is going to be my video for how easy is it to change covenants and everything that has to do with the soulbinds and the conduit energy and how that's gone completely, the alt friendliness of being able to catch up your alt, as well as your main character's covenants to Renown 40, and some of the issues that I think Blizzard could still ratify going forward into 9.1.5. But anyway, thank you so much for checking out this video. You let me know your thoughts on what Blizzard could maybe do to potentially make this covenant switching easier. Do you have any suggestions for them? Leave that in the comments below. If you want to hit me up, Discord link always in the comment or description link of every single video. That's probably the best place to reach me. I'm hanging out there all the time. That's probably the best place to contact me if you guys got any questions or suggestions. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more 9.1.5 stuff. Hit the bell to actually get the videos in your subscription box. But thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.